my actual spirit animal. Louisiana is freaking awesome. You do? That's dope. It's funny how TikTok likes to filter this comment of yours, because TikTok is just, I'm not impressed with their filtration system. They filter out the wrong things. I'm like, why you gotta be filtering out the good stuff? Like, filter out the weirdos that are mean and stuff, not the regular folk like ourselves. The good old folk. Attorneys, district attorneys, congress people. Dang, so is that why you have your tag under Birch? Well, like, pseudo account. I love it. Little pseudo account. Welcome, y'all. Yeah, so we're just having fun this Friday. Usually I'm preaching and teaching on serious topics, and I probably will a little bit tonight. Incognito, for sure. I feel that all day. Birch, welcome. You're part of my soul fam. Like, I just feel it in my bones. It's felt energetically through the tag, through the screen, through the vibrations, the frequencies. You're part of soul fam. So, yeah. I love it. The pseudonym, like, that's dope. Yep. And that's, yep. Stay preaching and teaching. There we go. That's it. You're splitting with the new earth. And that's what we're talking about today, is the new earth. So, yes. What color do we like? I feel like this kind of gives me every color, so maybe this one. Welcome. Yeah, guys, we're getting serious tonight. We're gonna be speaking on some serious topics. Yeah, so Bible and tarot. Bible and tarot is what we're doing, and it's gonna be extremely fun. And yeah, I'm probably gonna start a new series next week on the split earth, the split earth. I don't know why I thought of this. What'd you think of? Tell me. Trying to what? Oh, biblically. This, yeah, you're for sure part of my spirit team, and perhaps a spirit animal of mine, because when I tell you I love to put words together like that, that's just amazing. Bibliomancy. I'm kind of secretly obsessed. This is probably my new favorite made-up word of all time. You just really created that. Yeah, like Russian roulette, but you're essentially... Yeah, I love that. I mean, here's the thing, I do that already for sure, no doubt. For some reason, I thought that was a made-up word. It's an actual word. It's an actual word. I thought it was made up. Yo, thank you for putting me on. I absolutely do that. I think, honestly, you don't even really have to. It is very obscure for sure. But, like, for some reason, I was thinking, what is it, the necromancy? I was, like, putting that together with Bible, and I was like, this is brilliant. Yeah, I definitely do that all the time. I just call it a different thing. I call it Russian roulette, or, like, Bible roulette. But I don't necessarily usually ask something, which is the key for the divination part, right? Usually what I do is I just say, I guess I do ask, it would be one question though, which is always consistently, what do I need to hear right now? So when I get that, then I'm just like, okay, let me just flip to this, flip it open and see. It's so wild how accurate it could be. You know what the crazier thing is too that I've noticed? That, like, can you guys hear me okay or no? I'll put this on for a second. That's awesome. I love the Torah, the first 5 of the Bible. So, what was I telling you? Oh yeah, what was I telling you? Outside of the Torah. Why am I forgetting? Oh, what I was telling you. Okay, this kind of goes in alignment actually with the Torah, because a lot of Jewish folk will read the Torah throughout the entire year from start to finish. Well, what I've noticed is when you pick a book in the Bible or even a section and you start to read it from the beginning to the end, there's always something so applicable within each section you read per day that's applicable to some type of arching theme in your life, whether it be that minute, second, day, hour, or even like a larger theme going on. Yeah. Raised Catholic. Like left-handed Catholic. What does left-handed mean? I'm obsessed with Jews, low-key. Low-key. I love Jews. I just do. Like, they're just so smart. Like, what a smart people group. I know in any, like, I'm not sure what, like, left-handed Catholic means, but yeah, I love Hebrew. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with even all things Catholic as well. Like, I love Latin. I'm like, put me in the Vatican. Just, let's go. Let's go. So fun. I have a ridiculous amount of Bibles too. I should do a TikTok live one day and just share my Bible collection. Like a show and tell. Hey guys, this is my Bible collection, and this is why I like it, and this is what I use it for, and this is blah 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 blah. I've got 2 Bibles right here, right meow. 1 Bible right here, right meow. Ready to go. Open to the page I want it open to. Cracked open. And this one is absolutely my favorite. Well, not necessarily how it's written. I don't really like this style, but I like the part where you can actually like write in it. It's a Bible with journal, y'all. So you can write in it. So nice. Let's see if more of my peeps come. Where are my peeps at? Where are my peeps? Where are my peoples? Yo. I'm gonna see what left-handed Catholic means, because I just, like, don't know what that means. Oh. Yeah, I can appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's good. I can appreciate that. Because here's the thing, as long as you're not doing black magic on others, like, we're here to learn how to manipulate energy. We're not here to manipulate others. You hear me? Like, we're not to manipulate other people. I feel like my crown chakra is on, like, freaking 22D, 22nd dimension out here. So I need to calm that down right now. because holy cow. Okay, feeling a little bit more grounded in my energy. Yeah, so y'all, today we're gonna freaking do some bibliomancy. Ask a question. That is pretty much what it is. It's like tarot and Bibles. Oh shoot. Drawers shutting, things slamming. You know, I do have to say, I've never messed with an Ouija board, right? Because for obvious reasons, right? However, one time I was in Marshall's. It was around the holidays. And of course, in Marshall's, they had one on sale. And I'm a very curious girl. Woman, you know. Just curious. I'm a curious soul. We all are. I mean, it's never ending. Everyone to different degrees. Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Yeah. I hear that loud and clear. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. So what I wanted to tell you was I felt the energy because I'm very, very, sensitive to energy. And as soon as I passed this Ouija board, the energy, of course, is amazing. I'm like walking by it and the energy is just like pulsating, trying to get me to come to it. I'm like, you can't, it might feel good to walk by you, but guess what? You can't fool me. You ain't gonna fool me. Can't fool me twice. Who's Pazuzu? Is this like some sort of like demon child? Like possessed? Who's Pazuzu? Oh shoot. So I probably shouldn't be saying that out loud. I probably shouldn't be saying that name out loud is what you're saying. That's so funny. Guys, I'm like so fidgety with my setup right now. I'm sorry. Just like needing to get like a good, I don't know what is my problem here. Or like something like this. Right, meow. What's good, Ethan? Welcome. We're talking about bibliomancy. Like if you watch The Exorcist, oh snap, okay. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that out loud. Because our words, oh shoot. What are you saying? Hold on. People deal with him for different reasons. Okay. Oh, snap. Like they do to keep another demon away that, yeah. Oh, snap. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very enlightening. Yeah. So, welcome guys. It's, it's kind of late. We're doing a late night tarot. Well, late night tarot should be pretty fun. Tarot Bible study. Why is this like, I cannot when these are not straight. It really makes me like, oh, I know, Ethan, it's been 1,000 years. They're literally birch, candy birch. They're literally, you're not even saying anything bad and they're literally filtering out all your comments. Ethan, I apologize because it has been a while. I've been cooking though. Believe me, you know that I always stay cooking for you. I'm cooking. And what am I cooking? I'm cooking up some goodness. Our next series is going to be on the new Earth. Let's see. I missed you too, man. It has been some time. I mean, it's been what, since last Friday, technically? I should always pop on here and just do a little something no matter what. But I'm thinking like if I'm wanting to take a break on series, then I'll just pop in and do a little thing on like a Bible, spiritual meaning behind the Bible, like parable, like we will tonight. So let's see. Candy. Hold the phone. Let me actually just make this larger because I can't see crap. Unless I use my third eye chakra. Okay, so yes, I grew up denomination-wise. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church, and from there have really just spread my wings and quantum flown into all things spirituality. With my basis, I read my Bible every day, with my basis being that root. Goes back to the Babylonians. Yeah, facts. You can't tell the truth on a lot of different apps. It's like ridiculous. Nice. Yeah, so I'm from Washington State. Nah. Yeah. Not necessarily something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud. But I kind of am, because I stick out like a sore thumb. Facts. Ethan, I hear you loud and clear. Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm more of a red leaning or even a moderate leaning type of lady, and so I don't necessarily get along with, like some of the extremists. And Ethan probably could say the same, too, because he's in Oregon area. So like there's some extreme things that happen that's just like, for what reason? Why? It's not necessary. Like, why we gotta be so extreme all the time? But they are beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning. They're just not necessarily always my vibe, because I don't know. Yeah. I'm so fidgety with this, y'all. I'm sorry. I think it's just like I'm not used to. What are we doing here? Like, I need to just pick an area. I think that's better. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I mean, Washington does have, Yakima and Seattle are so different. Washington does have like a bunch of different terrain, which is kind of cool. It's like, do you want the desert or do you want like the lush greenery? It is nice. We have pretty much almost like a geographical yin yang. But yeah, Spokane, yeah. Yeah, we're super brainwashed, bro. No one. And in this sacred space, we love to teach and preach about thinking for yourself. When you go to learn, you learn to be able to learn how to think for yourself, to come to your own conclusions. Yeah, I bet. Tumbleweed. It's so funny. Like, dang. Yeah, welcome. Welcome, Birch. You're part of the fam here. The soul fam. We out here, guys. Soul fam. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the parables. It's the 10 virgins, but since this is TikTok, we might not be able to say virgins, so we could say bridesmaids, because that's kind of what they are. The 10 bridesmaids. And most people, NPCs, rely on their internal artificial intelligence. Yeah, NPCs, no doubt. You know what's wild, guys, is we all also, each one of us, have lifetimes that are like NPCs too, kind of where NPCs are like you're learning smaller lessons, like background, smaller lessons in those lifetimes. So we would call them like, smaller archetypes, lifetimes that aren't necessarily like your larger arc. Yeah, so anywho, so yeah, we're gonna next week dive more into the split earth. You guys know anything about that? Drop it in the comments what you know about the split earth, because yeah, this stuff is happening now. It's been happening. Yeah, potentially. I mean, here's the thing. From what I understand, the NPC parts of our lifetimes are pretty equally as important, because it's like running something on full throttle. You don't want to run something on full throttle for eternity. You want to have periods of downtime, periods of rest time. So you can think of NPCs kind of like that too, where they're almost like periods of rest, easier lifetimes, really kind of background. It's kind of equally as important, because then those are like your charging stations as a soul. And when you charge within those NPC lifetimes, for example, it doesn't really matter what you call it. I like the idea of NPC just because we all understand that quite well, and I do think it fits quite well. You're kind of recharging your soul when you're in those lifetimes. You're still learning specific lessons. It might be, a smaller lesson, like something a little easier on the soul to learn and integrate. And those small lessons, those NPC lifetimes that we all have, those lifetimes, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, exactly. They still go and arch into your larger archetype themed lifetimes, whatever, your arc is for your soul's path. So they're equally as important. They're just a different flow, if you will, like a different type of flow state to kind of recharge and recoup. If you do have, some people have really traumatic lives, like if you have a really traumatic life, and then you can rest on the spirit side, and then when you come back, you can also maybe come back and have a little bit easier lifetime as well. So yeah, it all kind of balances out over time. But yeah, so my peoples. Yeah. So yeah, and I hear you loud and clear. These are all things that are necessary. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, kind of break the ice a little bit on what our next series will be, which is the Earth split, because a lot of people, including myself, have been having extreme symptoms. Like, it feels like you are in a video game, yeah, weird things happening, and exciting times, very exciting times. So yeah, I kind of want to get into that, and just dive on in, So let's do this. The 10 virgins, which I know most people won't get their head out of the gutter with virgins, so potentially, because there's some weird people that get on this app, as my A1 since day ones have seen. So we'll call them, I mean, technically what they are biblically, a virgin is just a bridesmaid, okay? So we're going to go through this story, this parable that Jesus taught. And there's a lot of pretty profound, interesting parallels with this parable. Parallels with a parable. That's a really good alliteration. Some parallels with these parables as far as anchoring them into the new earth shift. So I got my thick study Bible out. And Ethan, like what you're saying earlier about the thin pages, bro, I get it. Like, some of them are really, like, they're so thin, you feel like you're gonna rip them, but somehow I never rip my Bible. I'm like, these things are kind of indestructible. It must be because it's interwoven with spiritual truths that these things really do not die. I've had, like, some of my Bibles forever, and then I've collected Bibles that are older than the Bible that I have as well. That were other people's Bibles, used and abused, and they're still just hanging on. Cool, guys. So I'll read you guys this. Jesus tells the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. If you want to get your Bibles out, let's go. Get your tarot, get your Bibles. Bibliomancy. We out here, bibliomancy. We out here doing spiritual, ultra high spiritual things. And we're going to go to Matthew chapter 25. It's just verse 1 through 13. And instead of saying virgins, I'm just going to replace that with bridesmaids, just so you know. So that way we don't get any weirdo energy being like, you know? Yeah. So, let's go ahead and read. I'm going to go like this. Let there be light. So, Jesus tells the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. Y'all heard? Okay. At the time of the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids who took their lamps and went out to meet their bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish. 5 of them were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but did not take any oil with them. The wise, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight, the cry rang out, "Here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, our lamps are going out." The wise replied, "No. There may not be enough for us and for both us and you. Instead, go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves." But while they were on their way to buy the oil, the bridegroom had arrived. The bridesmaids who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the others also came. "Sir, sir," they said, "open the door for us." But he replied, "Nay, nay, I tell you the truth, I don't know you. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour." Dun, dun, dun. I love that last part. Where's my highlighter? Yeah, I do be highlighting everything in the freaking Bible. Like, the whole Bible is a quote. You can literally highlight the whole Bible. But that last part right here, guys, is quite key to what we're going to be jumping into next week. It says, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour." Zun, zun, zun. Yeah. So let me just go ahead and highlight that. That is from... That verse I'm highlighting is verse 13 in Matthew chapter 25, the last verse of this parable. "Therefore keep watch, for you do not know the day or the hour." So what does that mean? What does that mean? Armageddon, is that another thing that's, what are you guys saying? Oh, I want the Ethiopian Bible, actually. I thank you for saying that. I actually do want the Ethiopian Bible. I have a lot of the Apocryphas, but I might be missing some, and the one that I want to read the most is actually Aquarius, or the Book of Aquarian, because apparently, to Dolores Cannon and all of her studies that she's done in the quantum field, getting all that information out from the past, that is actually the book that matches what actually happened the most in Jesus's life. It's the Book of Aquarian or the Book of Aquarius, something like that. Oh, nice. Maybe I can incorporate that into our studies. Welcome to the fam. By the way, Ethan and some of the other A1 since day ones, meet Birch, who is aka Candy. And yeah, welcome to the A1 since day one fam, because You get it. You get it. You get that new earth energy. I'm going to put that in here. Where should I put it? I'll just put it at the top. Johnny Cash. I'll look into the lyrics tonight or tomorrow. The man comes around. When the man comes around. Yeah, so essentially, y'all, with this bride's groom slash, which is basically, so let's get back to this wedding real fast. Yeah, facts. Straight up. I mean, I could pull it up for sure. So let's see here. I want to quickly read you, because this is a study Bible, I want to also read you a few of these little notes, the study notes at the bottom that I highlighted. So for the quick, essentially, summary, if it were a few sentence summary, this parable is about a wedding. On the wedding day, the bridegroom went to the bride's house for the ceremony. Then the bride and groom, along with the great procession, returned to the groom's house where a feast took place. Often these feasts at that time would last a whole week. These 10 bridesmaids were waiting to join the procession, and they hoped to take part in the wedding banquet. But when the groom didn't come at the expected time, 5 of them were out of lamp oil. Sorry if I'm reading like a robot. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm like, wait, what does that say? Let's see. So by the time they had purchased extra oil, it was too late to join the feast. So guys, essentially it is about preparation, about being prepared, and each one of us is responsible for being prepared in our own right. Spiritual preparation. It cannot be bought and it cannot be borrowed last minute. So what does that entail? Essentially, guys, what we really want to focus on is being that stand-up person. You know, there's people that attend church, right? There's people that attend church. I have a grandfather who's since passed away, would attend church and was like a big head honcho within the Catholic church locally. But then when he would come home, he would physically and verbally abuse my grandma and my mother and all the other children. So you see here how it's not just what you do on Sundays or what you do, you know, in front of other people. It's also what you do behind closed doors. Okay? Exactly. It has to be words, thoughts, actions, like from your inner core. This is what we're talking about here. Not just the exterior, oh, I look good when I do this in front of these people, right? The New Earth split is separating the gold-plated styrofoam, right, from the actual gold-plated through and through, okay? So essentially, how we stay ready for that, we're going to kind of go through some of those things today, and then next week do more of a deep swan dive as well. But exactly what Birch is saying, we need to have complete alignment with self, because when we have complete alignment with self and we're divinely anchored in source energy, divine light, then easily it's going to reflect and pour out into your 3D reality as well. So that's essentially the gist of this parable, is staying ready, and I want to go through some of the symbolic meanings behind the different parts of this parable to include anchoring it into that new earth split energy that we all are starting to experience and have been experiencing and will continue to experience as well, which is quite fascinating. So, the midnight cry essentially is going to be your final frequency split, and only the oil filled, which the oil is going to represent your soul being a pure spirit. Does not mean you have to be perfect, guys. What it means is, are you in alignment? Like your words, thoughts, and actions, right? Are you showing up every day, progressing every day, understanding that, yeah, we don't need to be perfect, but we need to stay in alignment. And if you fall back out of alignment, okay, Ethan, I'll see you soon. If you fall out of alignment, can you quickly get back in? It's about awareness, right? And it's not controlling others either of, oh, you're out of alignment, this and that. It's controlling self, because when you develop your soul, all other souls will turn in nature to the most developed soul. So you never, ever, ever have to control anyone. Force is not something that we have to do. We don't need to do that. Why that's become a thing, why does the church want to force you to do this or whatever? People want to force you, control you to do X, Y, Z. The reason that happens is because they're living from smaller mindsets of things have to be done now and they have to be done their way. Nay, in the game of eternity, things happen at divine time. They do not need to be forced. Even your soul's journey happens in divine time and does not need to be forced. You hear me? So, for example, when I talk about, with that, one thing could be politically, a lot of things are politically charged in our reality right now. And they're politically charged because people think that an opinion is like a death sentence of, oh, you have an opinion, oh, that means you want me to die. No, that's not true. But that's how a lot of people in our society are moving and grooving from, is, oh, they have an opinion, their opinion means they want me to die. That's how ridiculously polarized and charged our political field is, and it's the complete opposite. People are living from a state of lack. They're not understanding the greater picture of reality, which is, yeah, a soul's journey. Maybe they want to be polarized to one political sector. Okay, well, that's what their soul chose for this lifetime, and we should honor that, because they chose that for a reason. They chose that because they wanted to learn something, and we should honor these things, not condemn people, condemn each other, condemn people for their religion, condemn people for this and that. Now, when it comes to extremists, right, I don't condone being an extremist and being like, oh, I'm an extremist because that's what my soul's lesson was that I need to learn. Well, but the thing about that, guys, is even if someone's an extremist, the hard part is how that karma is going to unwind and unravel over time is by that soul experiencing extreme pressure on them. When you put extreme pressures on external XYZ, you had better believe the karma wheel, when it turns, whether it be in this lifetime or your next, is going to put the exact same pressure onto you, and it will not be fun. But that is how you learn. We don't learn by just like, nay, you shouldn't do that. Like, we learn by having the exact extremes done to ourselves, and then we integrate those lessons. But hey, the cool thing is you could just break free from that right now. You could just break free from that and integrate these lessons right now. Yeah, 100%. And that's another reason why we're having this earth split, is because we have so much extremes that the earth is a living, breathing organism as well. It is a mother Gaia. It's a living organism, and it cannot live anymore the way it's going. It cannot live. Thank you so much. So what's happening is we are going to see that Earth split because we have to. And we already feel this. A lot of people, already feel this in their own lives, where you feel like you're living in two separate worlds, kind of, with people even under your same household, where they're living like a completely different energetic vibration than you, and you just feel so separated from them. Or it can even happen within your workforce as well. It's like you're leading two extremely different lives. One person is on the ascension quantum path, feeling good, everything's starting to feel really good in life. The other person's on a more destructive path, self-deprecating, like everything's not feeling good. So back to the 10 virgins or the 10 bridesmaids. Essentially, those that are going to resonate with the new earth grid will shift into the wedding, right? So the 5 wise bridesmaids get into the wedding because they had extra stores of oil, aka they had extra stores of inner alignment, inner divine light connected to divine frequency, where they were able to, they were prepared. So that way when the bridegroom came back and they could celebrate because the bridegroom came back, they already had all their oil for their lamps to be able to party and blah, blah, blah. Same thing here. So essentially it's going to be, showing up every day, doing your gratitude, doing your meditation, really filling up your cup, doing your shadow work, doing the work that's very hard to look at, the traumatic work, whether it be from this lifetime or previous lifetimes. Not necessarily putting so much pressure on you, but if you're showing up every day and you're doing what you can to show up as your best self, whatever that looks like, in your current phase of your soul's ascension, this is exactly, you're on the right path. I can tell you that right now. So, yeah, the rest, when we officially start to really have this divide, the rest are going to basically short circuit and remain in the old earth burnout, where everything is problems and issues. Problems and issues. What are you saying? Silence is key. Silence is key. Oh, thank you, Karmic, for being here. Yeah, so there's way more dimensions than we even understand, y'all. Like science right now can maybe quantify up to like maybe 30, maybe. And outside of that, there's way more. There's way more, guys. There's way more. So, yeah, a little bit more on the symbolism behind this parable of, Jesus teaching about the bridesmaids. So the bridegroom who's getting married, he essentially signaling the split activation, or the signal source. His presence activates the split. If you're looking at this from a biblical standpoint, it would be Jesus' coming, Christ coming back. From the biblical standpoint, they're calling it Christ coming back, which Christ is probably already, I don't know if he would come back and incarnate here again, but because he was a more developed soul. So he would probably incarnate into other dimensions or just be a light being already. That's the route we're going. We're going into our DNA is altering and our DNA is restructuring itself. We're getting new codes set down from the quantum field where we're all going to start to become light beings. So he's, Christ consciousness, that strand of things is probably already in that realm already. So is he going to come back? Well, essentially, it wouldn't be a comeback then. It would be us meeting him where he's at. It would be an us coming to him, because we are the ones who are ascending up to those levels, right? So, yeah, from the, a new age standpoint, I guess, religion aside, it would be the ascension process. I mean, I kind of just married the two in one just there, but If you guys have any questions, let me know. Overlords. Yeah, facts. So, the lamps, holding the lamps in this spiritually symbolize the visible light in the old grid, which would be religion, and syncing with the new earth light, which would be right out of the book of Revelation, which we will be next week discussing a lot about the book of Revelation. So if anyone wants to start to read that this weekend, if they haven't already, definitely look at specifically chapters like 21 and 22. So the lamp really signifies the outward form that will stay or collapse. And the oil, again, is the 0-point spirit fuel and frequency key. Without it, no translation. Essentially, guys, you know, light and frequency, it's the same thing in itself. And we all already vibrate at specific frequencies, and that's exactly what we're going to like keep ascending into, is higher vibrational frequencies where we become energy bodies. We're already that, technically, because we are matter. And matter is what? Well, our good friend Newton said matter is energy. Was it Newton or Einstein? I think it was Newton. I'm getting my science mixed up. Essentially, guys, though, I think it was Newton, right? The matter is energy, energy is matter. Force equals mc squared or whatever. Who is that? Newton or... Y'all help me with that. There's nowhere else to run, so how do you run? What are you saying? 10 GB. Yeah, so you're getting into some of the energetics behind it is what you're saying. I can hear you loud and clear on that. Yeah. Yeah, it's all energetics, guys. Does anyone know mass, and if anyone wants to pop that in the chat, or I could just look it up real fast. What am I doing? Let me just look it up. Mass, I think it's what, mc squared. Mass is energy, and energy is mass, or matter, excuse me, matter is what I meant. Matter is energy. Oh, I think it's Einstein. Yeah, it's Einstein. Yeah, because you can convert one into the other and vice versa by multiplying the speed of light squared. So, yeah, mass and energy are interchangeable, guys. So we're already technically light beings. So some of these ones, they actually, TikTok likes to filter things that are true. So I apologize about that. I have to like literally go in and unfilter what you guys are saying here. I hear that loud and clear. Cool. I have mad respect for Solomon. I think he's badass. Yeah, I believe that. No doubt. So guys, back to yeah, Einstein. Essentially, he's the one that showed us that energy and matter are interchangeable. So we'll just become a more higher strand of energetic beings, more closer to the light. Our DNA, our helix DNA, is already wave and light, or like magnetic, electromagnetic wave particle. So we're already pretty much like, we are light beings, but it's going to get more aggressive. We're going to be really probably glowing soon. Can't wait. Can't wait. You should send me an email. Silence is key. My gosh, Tasha. Yes, understood. I love that word. Yeah, Nikola Tesla 369. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so freaking happy y'all are here. My girl Tasha's here. Yeah, please send me an email. I have my link in bio. You can send me an email. Or even you can fill out one of my Google forms, same difference, but send me an email on some of this. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Energetic light source beings essentially experiencing the past projection. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. Nailed it. Nailed it. Sis, when we start our podcast. Sis. Yes, exactly. What am I not getting? Silence is key. Send me an email because I'm trying to go through this story and read your story at the same time, and I'm getting lost in the sauce. But I want to know what you're saying. Or send me an article if you don't want to map it out and send me an email. Send me something to read. Send me something I can look into. Yeah, we got to start a podcast immediately. Like, I'm literally so game. I'm literally so down. Like, if you jump on here right now, sis, you don't even have to put on your face. You can just, Nicole, what's good? We got some A1 since day one's in here. And think you're gonna make a haven sanctuary in the fourth dimension. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying, silence is key, but if you want to email me and have me, or send me some documents or links that I can read about what you're saying, because I'm not sure. Oh, snap, so fun. Tell him happy birthday. Thank you so much, Nicole, you're so sweet. I'm glad you're here, you're so beautiful too. Your makeup is always like so freaking fire. You know how to do makeup. Okay, yeah, put it for me straight and simple. You gotta get them birthday them birthday dookies out. Should I edit that out of my No, we keep it real in here, guys. This is the time to let our freak flag fly. And when I say freak, I mean FREQ. Q. I love Solomon. Thank you so much, Nicole. Yeah, Nicole, your makeup always looks like straight out of Mac. Like, do you work for Mac or something on the side? Because I'm like, sister, you be doing some straight Mac artistry type of work. 100% authentic all day, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, and we have that in our own. We have radars as well, technology-wise, which anything that we have technology-wise comes straight out of nature. Oh, no way, yeah. I thought so. I was like, your makeup is so on par. I'm like, she works for MAC. No doubt. I'm like, anytime I go to get like any type of makeup from MAC, I'm always like shocked by how their makeup looks. I'm like, what the heck? How do you look like that? Flawless. I haven't. They're literally trying, silence is key. They're trying to silence you, which is so dumb. I love to. You should do my makeup for one day when I get married. We're speaking about weddings tonight. So many celebrations. We got Tasha's husband. Happy birthday to him. You know what I was thinking? Tosh, happy birthday, Mr. President. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. So, well, essentially, y'all, I'm essentially tying in a lot. I love Jesus's parables. I'm like a fiend for parables. I'm like, give me parables, you know. That's so awesome. I love it. I'm like, give me parables, Jesus, because I eat those up for breakfast, lunch, dinner, second lunch, second breakfast, second dinner. Okay. Now we're going through the parable about the wedding. Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun. Like, literally, by the time I get married, I do believe I'll be a millionaire by then, and that should be within this year. And also, you know, I'm manifesting. See, I'm speaking this out loud. This is how we manifest. So also, I'm gonna be flying you out, girl. You're gonna do my makeup. You're gonna do Tasha's makeup. We're Washington folk, unfortunately. I mean, I shouldn't be so mean, but A black belt. Who's got a black belt? We got black belts in hilariousness. Is that what we got black belts in? Yeah. Shoot, I will. Anyways, yeah, so we're just talking about the wedding parable and essentially linking that into the new earth, because anytime I read the Bible, I just see so many deeper spiritual truths that are, it's just laden and laced with spiritual truths where I just need my fix daily. Yes, that's right. We out here. We stay quantum with it. We're black belts in the quantum field, y'all. We don't mess, and neither does our spirit team. I know whoever's attracted to this field right here that we're in collectively together, we black belts, and so is our spirit team. The quantum black belts. Exactly. They're trying to filter you out too. I'm like, y'all, why are they trying to filter out the good stuff? Beelzebub, Beelzebub. I can't even say that right now. Yeah, we go hard in the paint. So yeah, the paint stay freaking rock hard, literally. So that's how hard we be going in the paint. Anywho, yeah, so I do think I'm probably gonna get married pretty soon, even though I don't have a boyfriend yet, but I'm manifesting that immediately. It's around the corner, y'all. I love you too. Have the best night, and tell him happy birthday. That's so fun. Have the best, most blessed love and light. All the blessings. Another year around the sun. Another year of fun. Love you so much. Where are all those lost children go to navigate and survive? Yeah, I need to understand some of this stuff more, because for some reason I always get caught on frequencies. So I'm like, just because you're at a lower frequency does not mean that you're necessarily not taken care of or cherished or loved. It's just you're gonna have a lot harder time getting out of that dense energy, and it's probably gonna take you longer. You're probably gonna suffer more because it's gonna take you longer. Well, and then a lot of people actually just fester and grow. The energy you focus on is where the energy goes and grows. So if you're focused and growing and festering and surrounded by more people that are also focused, growing, and festering within this petri dish of like nasty energy, dark, dense, lower vibrational energy, these things are going to grow. So I'm like, how then it's going to be even harder, especially when the earth splits. Actually, energetically, it has to, because we cannot keep moving the way we're moving. We know this, and we feel this on an energetic level in our own cells, and that's exactly what's happening. We're having two different frequency splits of the earth over time. Slowly but surely it's happening. So I'm like, what was I saying, guys? What was I saying? What are we saying? What are you saying? Let's see. I love you, Tosh. Have the best time. Damn. Yeah, the thing about multiple lifetimes and being a quantum being is people always come back. So whatever anyone does to outreach, out eat, out whatever someone else, that's going to come back on them tenfold. You know? Because the karma wheel is always going to turn. And when it turns, you know, we've all felt the karma wheel turn in our lives before, and believe me, that thing smacks. That thing smacks. Silence is key. You should for sure email me like what you. Yeah, email me some of these stories, and what you kind of like your spiritual and or religious viewpoints and stuff, or kind of, whatever main things you fall under, because I'd be interested to understand more about what you're saying, because for some reason I'm not piecing the story together, because I'm also focusing on this story. So I feel bad. Welcome back, Ethan. What's good? What's good? Okay, no worries. You should email me though, because I want to know. I'm like interested on what you have to say, and I'm trying to follow along. For some reason I can't. So please forgive me for that. Please forgive me, and please email me, or we could even jump on a phone call. Like, feel free to just message me your phone number. Let's see. So let's get back into a little bit more of the symbolism here. The wise versus the foolish. I mean, that's pretty understandable. With the wise, you're going to have a higher frequency match that actually enters and equates to the split earth. And then with the foolish, they're going to be a frequency mismatch. It's like when you try to get in and out the door and they're like, you're not on the list. There's going to be VIP. VIP gets in easily. If you're not on the list, you're going to be, on the lower vibrational old earth, the 3D. So the midnight cry would signify the wave function collapse. So that's the splitting moment of the two permanently. Now, then of course the shut door, when the bridegroom shuts the door and they get to celebrate in the banquet room, the wedding, that is essentially the old grid and the new grid sealed shut. Because remember, when the foolish bridesmaids come and knock on the door, the bridegroom opens the door and says, I don't know you. Okay. So the split sequence, from an energetic view, you have the delay phase, which is kind of where we're at now, where things are starting to happen slowly but surely. The old earth entropy is going to start increasing. The foolish are going to grow more complacent because they're not going to have higher energetic beings to be able to help pull them out of those lower vibrational frequencies. Again, it's going to be like a fester. It's going to fester. Whatever we focus on grows. And when we have this clear divide, these two now different frequencies, two very different experiences happening, the good is going to keep growing, and the bad will more than likely keep growing, because they're not going to have the good even as like a role model. And this is again why Jesus came, to try to help us get back on path. This is again why John was given the revelation to write in his current words of that day, which they didn't have as much vocabulary as us currently, right? He wrote the best he could, what he saw, what his vision was. So we're given these things as tools to be able to help us to understand these frequencies and what's going on. That way we can actually make sure and do a spiritual check. Hey, am I really coming from a place of wisdom and truth? Am I really vibrating at a higher frequency? Or do I have some things to work on? Great, now's the time. No time like the present. You don't know how quickly you can shift, guys, with determination and consistency. When people try of the lower vibrational frequencies right now, because we are still semi-conjoined, right? We're not at the full split yet. There's going to be so much, not only temptation, but just in general, lower vibrational frequencies that try to pull at you. How do you show up in those moments? Right? These are the catalysts of showing what your true character is. And if you have some slip-ups, great. You just need to be aware. Be like, okay, I probably could have done this better. Let me work on some of these internal things, internal potential issues I might be having. Fix this internal dialogue, this internal alignment, so I can show up differently. And when these things happen again, because we get tested, Jesus was tested, right? We get tested every single day. And until we actually do have that final complete shift where it's like we're living in two different worlds on the same planet. You're going to get tested, and those tests, even though they're taxing and they seem difficult and challenging, right, these are actually things we need to be grateful for, because it can show us where either we're improving or we're falling short. And both of these things, these feedback loops, we can energetically start to work on immediately and improve, right? We can improve on the things that are bad and stay strong and keep growing the things that are good, to keep up leveling in our quantum energetic fields. So yeah, the split phase, I mean, it's just two separate whole trajectories. It's like having a cell, which I'm going to be looking into the energetics of this, like biology, the microbiology behind the cell split, because I think it's going to be very similar. Again, as we know in this sacred space here, all things spiritual we can find in science. Time and time again. There has not been a time where this has not been true. And if you guys want to prove me wrong, show me, because yeah, there's not been a time that hasn't been true. So I'm going to be looking into that, and we'll go into that more next week as well. Yeah, so just a little bit more on the wedding, right? So the wedding kind of signifies the new earth and the feast phase. It's a celebration, it's a banquet, it's an eternal resonance. And the split is finalized, so there's not going to be a late sync. Like, you can't just show up at the door like the foolish bridesmaids did and be like, hey, we got our oil now, aka we just filled up our spiritual cups, can we come? No. So I mean, that's kind of scary. Like, I want to dive into that a little bit more next week and kind of figure out, okay, well, if you have people that are on the route of the lower earth split, what does that mean? What does that look like? Are they ever going to be able to quantum leap? It's going to be much, much, much harder. If they can, I would assume they should be able to, but it's going to probably be much harder. You're going to have to go through way more loops because you don't have any role models. You don't have, the access to the higher vibrational frequencies at that point. You're living a completely different frequency. So, I mean, that is kind of scary, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what does that even really mean and look like? And I guess that's why we've been preparing for, technically trying to prepare for this for lifetimes, essentially, because we've all been here for lifetimes. So, yeah, essentially, a little bit of things to think about in your daily life, right? There are many things you can do to up-level your spirituality, up-level yourself. We already know one of the quickest ones is going to be meditation, all different forms of meditation. Journaling helps a lot with releasing, we want to release a lot of density, right? Transmute density. Fruits of the Spirit: peace, love, joy, kindness, self-control, goodness, all the fruits of the Spirit within, Galatians. Having all of those, it's Galatians 5:22. Not being pulled or weighed down, recognizing the lower vibrational frequencies, the distractions, the chatter, the things that they say is it's an emotional pull, like, oh, this is immediate, this needs to happen now. The lies, the fake news, right? The pull of the lower vibrational energy 3D. If you need to take a second and think, hey, is this actually an issue, or is this stemming from lower vibrational energy? Take the time and pause and think. In your solitude, contemplate before responding or reacting, right? It's really, really best to never react. It's always best to respond. And you take the time you need to to respond. That's on your clock, your divine timing, not anyone else's, right? So if you need to take extra time to see how do I want to show up in this situation? How do I want to show up in this scenario? Can I do this now? Am I confident where I'm at now, or do I need time to contemplate? Or do I need to remove myself and not show up in this scenario at all? That's my favorite. I'm like, let me remove myself. Guys, remove yourself. Like, there's so many people that come from unhealed spaces and places that try to claw at you and will be like, oh, this is immediate. This is necessary. This is needed now. Okay, let's take a breath. It's probably not needed now. Look at the flowers outside. Look at the flowers outside. Do they need anything right this minute? Probably not. A good example. And they're blooming. They're blooming and they're grooving. So similar to us, you guys. On the Game of Eternity, when people are trying to rush us into this, rush us into that, rush. The Game of Eternity, we don't need to rush. The Game of Eternity is present moment. Okay? That is the game you're playing, is present moment. You don't need to rush this, that. That's when people are trying to probably manipulate and control. You know, obviously there's things that happen that do need immediate attention. But having discernment is being able to see what is actually needing immediate attention versus what is false and what is trying to keep you stuck in lower vibrational energies, pulling you away from what your actual maybe dharma purpose is, or even pulling you away from some of your higher vibrational frequency practices because you're getting tied up with someone else's lower vibrational energies. You hear me? Cut the fat, y'all. Cut the slack, cut the fat. It's not your job. It's your job to work on yourself, as that is working on the whole. It's not your job to try to pull anyone else on your back. The best thing that you can do is you can actually get in alignment spiritually with self and with source, because again, that vibration, that high vibrational frequency will reflect and mirror and will affect everyone and everything around you, and to include the whole and the all. And therefore, that's why it's very important to have discernment of what is your things that you need to work on and what is someone else's personal journey they need to work on. And we can hold space for them, but we do not need to overly energetically exert ourselves to try to pull them out of the darkness that they're creating and that they clearly want for themselves. You hear me? You become extremely powerful in the right kind of power when you can have this type of discernment. And you also then energetically will have more stores of energy to focus on filling up the good, focusing on the good within your own life and within the collective, because you're not trying to clean up someone else's karmic messes or mistakes or whatever. You'll have extra energy stores to be able to clean up your own mistakes, to be able to clean up your own karma, to be able to clean up your own energetics. And this is what you need to focus on more than ever right now, because again, when you do this for self, you do this for the whole. Because in nature, the most advanced soul, nature looks to, nature turns to. Look at Jesus, for example. Jesus, very advanced energetic soul. All nature, all babies, all donkeys, camels, whatever they had, back in that time, turned to him. Turned to his energy, because he was the most advanced at that time. And we've had other very advanced souls as well come through. Buddha, there's very many energetic beings to walk this planet Earth who have been extremely advanced. you know, I usually talk about Jesus a lot just because that's what I grew up on and I know the most about, but there are many other ones too. You don't need to just be stuck on Jesus all the time, but you know, we're not even supposed to worship Jesus, y'all. That was made by the Roman Church, as we already know. They killed the man that they said we should worship, and then they're like, yeah, let's kill him, let's crucify him, it's going to be excruciatingly painful, and then let's go ahead and worship him. So you see how that the math ain't mathing. The math is not mathing, guys. But there are many things that we can learn from what? A more developed soul. And that's what we should do. We should look and turn to more developed souls and learn from them so we can become developed as well. It's like moth to the flame, right? Moth to the light. Exactly like that. We are light energetic beings, and the person who is vibrating and has the most light energy, vibrating the highest, all nature surrounding, to include other souls in human form, this and that, are going to turn to that person, that soul. So I don't know if you guys are even saying anything in the chat here or not, but yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah. And staying disciplined in yourself. So one of the, fruits of the spirit that we've talked about a lot in here is staying disciplined with self-control. Self-control is one of the things that when we know how to actually utilize that from a very high level degree, self-control, we can say no. Saying no is way more powerful than saying yes. We can say no from a loving standpoint. We can say no from a compassionate standpoint, not only for ourselves, but for others too. When we can say no, we're actually creating the space for us to fill up with more divine light, and we're creating the space for that person, that if we're saying no to a person, for example, for them to step into their own power and to their own light, because they're choosing as well, just as you are choosing. They're choosing their own karmas or their own soul path, their own lessons, right? So we need to be respectful of those things as well. We can lead from example of like, hey, leading from example, but we don't necessarily need to be the savior of everyone, especially when people are making their beds, and they have been making their beds not only for this lifetime, guys, but for centuries, for many lifetimes. Okay? So, yeah. Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss when it comes to the parable of the wedding. And